The walls of the interrogation chamber pulsed with a sterile blue hue, rhythmic and cold like a machine's breath. Veena's wrists were bound with energy cuffs, her lavender skin marked with bruises where the humans had handled her roughly. Her long silver hair clung to her damp cheeks, and her sharp golden eyes glared into the one-way mirror where she knew the Earth operatives were watching. It was her 4th day in captivity. Her people, the Veari, had warned her about humans. Cruel, paranoid, and xenophobic. Even the children were said to mock other species. They waged war for oil, then for water, and now for territory among the stars. When Veena's scouting vessel had been shot down near the Martian border, she expected torture, interrogation, insults. What she didn't expect was him. The door hissed open, breaking the silence. A human male stepped in, tall, lean, and not armored like the others. No weapons. His black uniform bore no stripes, no rank. Just a name tag that read Captain Reeve. He looked young, but his eyes carried a kind of weariness, as if he'd seen too many wars and not enough peace. Veena's muscles tensed. She straightened her back despite the pain, preparing for verbal warfare. But instead of mockery, Reeve sat across from her, placed a steaming metal cup on the table, and said, "You look like you need rest." Veena blinked. "That's all." He tilted his head. "No one's letting you sleep in here, are they?" She stayed silent, but her eyes narrowed with suspicion. This was a tactic. Sympathy first, lies later. "You're dehydrated," he continued. "I had to fight command just to let you have a drink." He nudged the cup toward her. "It's water. No drugs." Veena looked at the cup, then back at him. "Why?" "Because you're not our enemy," Reeve said calmly. "You were scouting, not attacking. I read your logs." She flinched. "You accessed our records." "Only enough to understand what happened. We've got linguists working non-stop, and your tech's surprisingly intuitive." She scoffed. "And yet your people shackled me like a criminal." His gaze didn't waver. "Would your commanders have done different if the roles were reversed?" That question stung more than she liked to admit. Veena looked away. Silence hung between them like a fog. Finally, Reeve leaned back in his chair, studying her. "I know you're tired of being watched like an animal. I came to talk, not interrogate. That's not who I am." She eyed him warily. "Then what are you, human?" He smiled, but it wasn't mocking. It was faint, tired, real. Just a soldier who's seen too much and still believes in the value of kindness. The next day, he came again. This time, she wasn't bound. The cuffs had been removed earlier without explanation. Her ankles still ached from the standing position they'd forced her into the previous night, but for the first time in days, she sat on her own accord. Reeve brought food. Not human food, Veari rations. Somehow replicated from her ship's emergency stores. "You stole our replicator designs," she said, more impressed than angry. He chuckled. "Reverse engineered. Don't worry, we'll give credit if we ever market it." Veena didn't laugh, but her lips twitched. Over the next 3 days, they spoke more. Not always about war or politics. Sometimes about starscapes. Music. She told him about the floating cities of Viren and the light dances performed on the moons of Etera. He told her about Earth's oceans, about the violin he used to play when he still believed in music more than orders. She hated that he was likable. Worse, she hated how her guard slowly began to lower. On the 7th day, things changed. The alarms blared during their meeting, red light flooding the chamber. Reeve stood immediately. "Stay here," he commanded. "I'll find out what's happening." The door closed behind him, locking her in. For minutes, maybe hours, she paced. The silence returned, louder now, until finally the door hissed open again. But it wasn't Reeve who entered. It was Colonel Hart, the woman in charge of the human outpost. Her gaze was icy and without warmth. "We've decided to transfer you to Central Command," Hart said flatly. "They're less interested in diplomacy." Veena stiffened. "You mean torture?" Hart didn't answer. Just then, Reeve pushed his way in. "No. This isn't right." Hart turned on him. "You're dismissed, Captain." "With respect, I'm not letting her be shipped off like a package. She's not a threat. She's an alien operative." "She's a scientist," he snapped. "She's done nothing wrong. You know it." The colonel hesitated. Central Command gave the order. "Then let me escort her," he offered. "Personally. Give me 2 days. I'll take full responsibility." Hart stared at him for a long moment, then nodded. 2 days. Then she's off-world. Reeve didn't take her to command. He took her to the edge of the Mars colony, where a hidden transport shuttle waited behind a curtain of red dust. "You're risking your life," Veena whispered. "So are you," he said. "Your people are probably looking for you. I'm giving you a chance to return." Her throat tightened. "Why?" He looked at her, really looked. "You expected insults. I know. You expected cruelty. Maybe I would have too, if the roles were reversed." He paused. "But I saw you, tired, beaten, afraid, and all I could think was, no one deserves to be treated like that. Not even an enemy." "You don't even know me," she said, voice cracking. "I know enough." He reached into his jacket and pulled out something small, his old violin, in miniature form, printed from a replicator. "You told me once you'd never heard Earth music," he said. "Maybe you'll remember the sound." Then, without another word, he stepped back and opened the shuttle hatch. Veena lingered at the door. "You will be hunted for this," she warned. "I've been hunted before," he said with a crooked grin. "But if they catch me, at least I'll sleep knowing I did the right thing." She wanted to say more. Thank him. Ask his real name. Ask if maybe, in another life. But instead, she gave him a salute in Veari fashion, fingers crossed over her chest. And then she disappeared into the stars. 2 weeks later, on a neutral station orbiting the moon of Rylos 3, a human captain was declared missing. Official records cited an accident during prisoner transfer. Unofficially, whispers spread in back channels of an alien vessel slipping past Mars patrols without a trace. And on the edge of Veari territory, in a council chamber deep beneath crystal domes, Veena stood before her people, not as a prisoner, but as an advocate. "They are not what we thought," she told them. "One of them saved me." Her elders looked skeptical. One asked, "What did he gain?" "Nothing," she replied. "He gave me water when I had none. Food when I was starving. He never mocked me, even when he had every reason to. And when they ordered my transfer to be dissected and studied, he freed me." Silence. Another counselor spoke. "And what did he say to you, when he first met you?" Veena smiled softly, remembering the moment like a dream. "He looked at me," she said, "and said, 'You look like you need rest.'" 1 year later, a peace delegation arrived at Earth's lunar embassy. The Veari had sent scientists and diplomats. Among them was Veena, now an ambassador. As she stepped off the shuttle, her eyes scanned the crowd. Soldiers stood in formation. Officials clapped. Cameras rolled. But her gaze stopped at a man in civilian clothes, standing behind the line.